Well, Delaware has a lot of history, and here in our coastal area, a lot of history that maybe you weren't even aware of. And Charlie Sokaitis, our very own history buff here, loves exploring the area, especially when it comes to historical homes, and the Maull House is no exception. So let's hear a little bit from him and the folks that make this restored historical home all possible.
The Thomas Maull House is a charming little home on Pilot Town Road, right along the banks of the Lewes-Rehoboth Canal, and it has been a part of history in the area since before America was even a country.
This house is from 1739. It's old and it needs work.
Carolyn Hoops Deavy and Leslie Donaldson are both current-day members of the DAR, and according to them, the organization purchased Maull House in 1966 for $10,000. Charmingly, the group financed that initial purchase via meat and bread.
We did roast beef sales at the Cape Henlopen High School. We had green stamps that we collected, all to purchase the house.
Since buying the home all those years ago, there's been a lot of restoration, all in an effort to preserve the history of the area for future generations.
And life was so much harder for them and more of a challenge. And I think it's just so lovely that we have a home like this. We can preserve this and keep it going and have a reminder of how our ancestors, lived day to day.
But the job is never done, and there's more history to be found. To that end, the daughters are set to host a pocketbook and prize bingo fundraiser on April 25th.
And that is to help raise funds for our archaeological excavation, of the grounds.
We'll have more on that excavation in just a moment, but first, a bit about why these ladies want to spend their time volunteering for this work.
I follow my patriots' footsteps, so I take great pride in preserving and keeping it preserved for, future generations that hopefully will follow the same footsteps.
Well, I'm very proud to be a DAR daughter, and I just love history. And I love living in Lewes.
And these patriots have stories to tell, including the story of Mary Vining, whose picture hangs in one of the rooms here in Maull House.
She was like the belle of Delaware. And so during the war, she would host these parties and she'd have a lot of the British officers. And then she would get a lot of secrets and then she would pass them along to the Americans and everything. So she was a spy.
That James Bondian detail is reason enough to come down to see Maull House, and if you want to join them in raising funds for the historic location, here's a bit more about that big event on April 25th.
We're hoping to bring in about 200 people. We're having it at the American Legion, which is another patriot, organization, which is great that we can, be together on this. Bringing in 200 people, bringing in funds and so forth for our excavation and to help, preserve this home.
And now, as promised, let's get back to that excavation.
The inside of the Maull House is both beautiful and historic, but as you cross the street, there's an area of land that they're about to start digging up with an archaeologist who's hoping to find even more interesting and old historic stuff. And the man doing all of the excavating, or at least leading the excavating, is Dr. Ed Otter. Doc, what is it that you guys are hoping to search for, maybe find out here?
This is Lewes. We could have anything from 20,000-year-old Indians to a 1635 Dutch fort to yesterday's garbage.
So it runs the gamut.
It does, and we're standing at a natural spring, one of 7 that was in Lewes. So if there were Indians living here, Native Americans, this is where they would have been to get fresh water. It's also a good location to put a fort. If you want to barricade yourself in, you need a water source. So that's two things we're hoping to find.
There's water right out here, but it wasn't always exactly what we're seeing now. Things have changed a lot over the hundreds of years that people have been in this area.
Right. The creek has been channelized. It's been reconfigured. The course is different, and this is all man-made. There are also natural changes that have happened over the years that we can't document or haven't documented because we don't have maps that tell us where things were.
So how does that change, or how does that challenge the search to find, what might have been here once upon a time?
One of the things I'm talking to them about is just looking on the shoreline to see if there are old posts from piers that might have been here 50, 200 years ago.
When you talk about archaeology and excavating and how you guys do this, what is the process? You know, are you bringing in big loaders? Are you doing this by hand? How does it all work?
This is all by hand. We'll set up basically a grid system so that we can record the location of everything we find. And we carefully excavate down, looking through the different layers. The whole history of this property is written in the dirt. Each layer, as you come up, it gets newer and newer because you can't put the new stuff at the bottom. The stuff that we find tells us about the people that lived here. This is what really archaeology is. It's about the people that lived, not finding the artifacts. They're like the letters on a page that write the story. They just tell you the story,
yeah. But you want to know more about the people.
Right. Every project's different, and this one, because of the history, I mean, there's all the excitement of the potential. Like I said, the potential for a Dutch fort, the potential for Native American village stuff. But so there's always that excitement.
If you're a fan of history, you should be rooting for this excavation project. And if you do want to help out, go to the bingo night held by the Daughters of the American Revolution. It is going to be Saturday, April 25th. We've got more Coast Life coming your way right after this.